At Dot and Company, we believe that all agencies deserve amazing account managers and that all of those account managers deserve to be supported, encouraged, and loved on. That's why we started CAM Community, a membership only for account managers. And inside, you'll gain access to the exact training we use to train our own client facing account managers, but also access to all of our SOPs, processes, and live trainings on a variety of topics. If you're an account manager, this is the place you've been waiting for. Learn more at dotandcompany.co/CAM community. If you are an account manager, you are likely managing a lot of clients. And juggling those clients with ease is something that takes a lot of skill and practice. And that is why we invited one of our expert account managers on to talk all about this topic. So today you are going to learn from Olivia on our team how she manages tons of clients and does it very professionally. Also in this episode, you are going to hear about the client status board that she uses inside Asana, and you can duplicate this across any kind of project management software that you are using. So let's get into this training. This was actually recorded live inside of our community, which is accessible to account managers. So head over to dotandcompany.co/CAM community to learn more and get access to more trainings like this. But in the meantime, let's dive in and hear from Olivia.
Welcome to the Happy Clients Podcast, brought to you by Dot and Company. Whether you're a virtual assistant, an agency owner, or a client-facing account manager, we all deal with clients. Lucky for you, client management is what we do best. Now, let's dig in, chat cam life, and have some fun along the way. Cheers to happy clients.
All right, well, I'll kick things off right on time. This is our lovely Olivia, and she's going to be presenting juggling multiple clients. Here's how to do it like a pro. So she'll go through some best practices, and then we can ask her all of the questions. I know this is going to be a really great one, so feel free to comment anything in the chat. I'll be moderating some questions for after the presentation.
Fun. Thanks, Emma. Here, I'm just setting up. Cool. All right. Well, welcome everyone to our call. I'm really excited to share mastering client management, some tips for juggling multiple clients. I decided to choose this topic because one of my agencies that I work with they have like 40 or 50 clients that I'm juggling with constantly. So I felt that after working with them for about a few months now, I'd love to share some tips and tricks on what I've been doing to help manage that account that have been really helpful. So I'll dive straight into it. So we're going to just discuss managing multiple clients. So sometimes managing, up to like 40 clients in an account could be quite a challenge. But with the right strategies and tools, you can definitely do it like a pro. And in this presentation, I'm just going to provide some tips for efficient and effective client management. So just a little bit of background, this account that I manage, they have a variety of different services. So they mainly do website design, they do graphic design, social or paid social, just general marketing strategy, social media management. So it was really important to get a really good understanding of all of these clients, what their services are, what our level of communications was, in order to be able to manage them effectively. So that leads into kind of my first tip, which is prioritize and plan. So I'm a big believer in having a super solid foundation before even kind of attempting to tackle managing that many clients. So the first thing that I recommend doing is to determine which clients are most important to your agency and focusing on them first. So the way that I did this was I actually tiered out the clients that I have based off of, how much they're paying the agency, like what are our top clients, what services we're offering them, and our level of our communication cadence. So this was step number 1. So I have actually, and with that agency, 3 different tiers just based off of, how frequently we're supposed to be communicating with them, etc. Another aspect of this is anticipating client needs and taking actions to address them before they even ask. Using tools like task lists, folders, and labels to keep track of client information. This is all really common CAM tools. But my pro tip is for this tip, it's like a tip within a tip, is to create a client status board and update it weekly. So what I did was I actually went into Excel, or you could use your project management software, and I essentially listed out all of the clients that we had. And then I put them into these buckets or these tiers based off of the services that we offer. So we have like our retainer clients, we have our website management clients that are just for website updates. And then we kind of have the ad hoc services or a la carte services where they're just doing like one-off graphic design projects or one-off website updates, that kind of thing. And from that, I added in sections like, what is our communication frequency with them? How often are we sending them emails? How often are we meeting with them on a client call? Who's the main point of contact? What's their contact info? What exactly do we offer each client? Like any notes that I might need for that client. And I'm updating that on a weekly basis. And so is my agency owner, so that anytime I need to see like a high level view of what needs to be focused on, I can just pop into that client status board and look at what needs to be worked on. Another great section I don't want to forget about that I added in there was the happy client, at-risk client, or project comeback client. Which I think we've mentioned in CAM School before, which is essentially like if a client is at risk or needs a bit more attention, then we can switch the status on that. And I can know as a client account manager to focus in on that account. So that is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to communicate effectively. So we're all really familiar with this, but it's super, super important to establish clear lines of communication with these clients and to respond to client inquiries in a timely manner. So being on top of your inbox is critical here to make sure that no new projects that are coming in are getting missed. And then when we do have projects on the go with clients, making sure that we are setting up regular check-ins to manage their expectations and stay on top of their needs. So one of my pro tips here is to send your top clients a Monday update. So these are going to be your clients that you have ongoing projects with. And it just provides transparency around what you've completed in the last week, what you're working on this week. If you need approvals on anything from that client, then you can put it in there. And if you don't really have like anything actively going on, maybe it's just all background ongoing stuff, it's still a great touch point, kind of like our daily pulse for the clients to potentially inform you on anything new that might be coming up. You can ask them like, is there anything that we need help with or that we should be aware of? And it just gives them the opportunity and the ease to be able to respond to that email and update you on anything that's coming down the pipeline. Moving on to 3 is managing your time. Again, super important. So breaking down your work into smaller tasks and allocating time to each task based on the deadline and the level of importance. Now, it's important to have a foundation and a structure when you're managing multiple clients, but you have to be aware that at any point you're going to require some sort of flexibility. So we have the structure in place to try and mitigate as much of the last minute work that might be coming through, but it's not going to eliminate it completely. So expect, something to come through that might be a last minute project. But it's really important that we're flexible, that we're kind of across all the other projects so that we can manage the workload and see where we fit that in as the account manager. And be prepared to adjust your schedule as priorities are needed. So my pro tip with managing your time is to use time blocking, the time blocking method, as a way to avoid context switching and feeling overwhelmed. So this is my favorite. I'm a big believer in this. A good example is 3 times a day in my calendar. I already have it set up as inbox 0. So I set aside, 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes after lunch, 30 minutes at the end of the day, so that I don't feel obligated to be constantly in my inbox checking, because that could take me away from a project that I'm potentially focusing on. I just know that I will never miss something because I'll get to it within at least 2 to 3 hours within those 3 time slots of the day. Or if I need to really focus in on a project management task, then I can block that in my calendar. Maybe I even turn my notifications off for that hour and just zone in and get that done, so that I'm not wasting my time and energy switching back and forth. Because with that many clients, there's always going to be something popping up, and it's going to be really easy to just go from this client or this project to that one. So being really mindful of your time blocking when you have that many clients. So that leads me into automating and delegating tasks. So when where you can, delegating tasks to other team members to help you manage the multiple clients more effectively. If there is a project where, with that account in particular, I don't have all the client communications covered. On certain projects, the agency owner works directly with the client, and I try and take on as much and absorb as much of that client communications as I can and be involved in it. But at sometimes it's easier to just have the client or the the agency owner or a certain team member communicate certain things to the client. So sometimes delegating tasks can be more efficient, and you just have to discern what is efficient and what isn't. And when it comes to automating, there are plenty of technologies that can help you automate. Now, I like to put an asterisk on this one because it's really important to find the tools that actually work for you, because it's easy to be overwhelmed by the amount of tools that exist out there. So find the ones that work for you. Before you adopt a tool, assess if it's going to make your life easier, or if it's going to maybe complicate things or add notifications or make it harder. So be really discerning when you choose tools, and then reevaluate if they're not working for you. Some of my favorites are Asana, Slack, Google Suite, Toggle, Otter, Calendly, Grammarly, Loom. We're familiar with all of these. And then my pro tip is to actually turn some notifications on. So we talk a lot about creating boundaries and turning notifications off a lot, but I'm a big fan of turning notifications on, specifically email notifications regarding tasks. Because at any point when I'm going through my inbox 0, sometimes there are things that if I didn't get an email notification for it, it would completely slip through the cracks. So because I have those on, nothing is getting missed when I am going through my inbox, and tasks are getting kind of moved around or checked or commented on, that kind of thing. And then finally, whenever I talk about managing time, I love to also talk about managing energy, because you can have an infinite amount of time, but if you have no energy to do anything with that time, then it's going to be completely useless. So really make sure that you're, managing your time in chunks, you're taking breaks when needed. Boundaries are important here. So saying no when it's necessary without feeling guilty about it, because it doesn't mean that you're not dedicated to the client's success or their projects. But sometimes we just need to have expectations around when things are getting done. And sometimes we need to say no if the workload is too much, keeping the well-being of your team in mind as well. So it's important to set boundaries. And then my pro tip here is to commit to a daily self-care practice, which will help you maintain your well-being and avoid burnout while managing multiple clients. And just a quick recap. So the key takeaways here are to prioritize and plan, communicate effectively, manage your time, automate and delegate, and then manage your energy. And I think I have a few last minutes here for any questions that might come across the board. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Olivia. That was so good.
Thanks, guys.
I think our main question is, can you share an example of that client status board?
Ooh, Yes, I can. Can I
I'd
share my screen with it?
Yeah, or even if you want to send like a screenshot or like a template link in Slack in the community, that would be amazing.
Yeah, for sure. I'll do that.
Another question I see is how do you keep your agency owner up to date on all of the clients? Do you tag them daily in the client status board or do they just access that whenever they need?
Yeah, so luckily he's very active in there. So he updates it regularly. He sees the value and importance in that board so that it's something that we're both constantly in. But if he wasn't, then I would probably send a weekly reminder to just, hey, this is where I've made some updates. Here's where the board is at. Could you just check it over? Yeah, and then he's looped into all of the regular communications, like even though he's not responding to the communications, like the Monday updates that I send out, he's CC'd in all of those as well. So yeah.
I love that. Any other questions for Olivia today? Amazing. Well, we can definitely follow up in Slack. I want to be mindful of everyone's time. And thank you so much, Olivia. That was so good.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
If you like this training from inside of CAM Community, head over to dotandcompany.co/CAM Community to learn more about how you can join a community and network of other account managers and learn everything you need to know to be a premium client-facing account manager. We'll see you in the next episode. Cheers to happy clients.
Cheers to happy clients.